Yemen's civil war began in March of 2015, and since then, there's been several missiles fired from Houthi rebels into Saudi Arabia, which is backing the Yemeni president, Mansour Hadi. The exact launch sites, they're not known, but it's believed most have been fired from Yemen's northwestern Sada province. In October of last year, Houthi rebels were accused of targeting the holy city of Mecca. The missile was shot down just south of the city, but it was the deepest strike into Saudi Arabia. Saturday's missile launch, a year later, now suggests Houthi rebels have technology that can strike beyond the reach of the Saudi capital, Riyadh. Andreas Krieg is an assistant professor at the Defense Studies Department at King's College London. He joins us via Skype from London, and always good to talk to you. So as we just talked there about some of these strikes that have been happening, it's been building up to this. Is there any surprise to you that these strikes continue and seem to continue to be more threatening?
No, it's not a surprise at all, actually. I mean, as you said, we've seen this escalation over time. And this is a tit-for-tat kind of balance of terror now, whereby the Houthis have said that if you strike us, we will strike back. And this is not going towards only against Saudi Arabia, but also against the United Arab Emirates, potentially. And they have, over the last 2 years, really expanded their reach, and they have really increasingly more sophisticated missile technology, which is far beyond the reach of what was initially targeted. So when the coalition started in 2015, when the strikes started, the Scud missile capability of the Houthis was relatively limited. We're talking about 300 kilometers to 500 kilometers.
Andres, how are they getting more technologically savvy? Let me get that out. How are they?
Analysts are disputing this at this point because nobody really knows where it's coming from. Fact is, Yemen is the poorest country in the world. There is no industry. There is no really military industrial complex that will be able to deliver or generate this. So definitely the technology comes from outside. There is a stockpile in Yemen of Scud missile that has been there for more than 20 years. And now this capability has been augmented. So I think what we see here is definitely some of the technology comes from Iran, but it doesn't come as entire missiles. It's not like the Revolutionary Guard of Iran is shipping entire missiles into Yemen. I think it's different parts, and then they're being assembled in Yemen and fired off. And apart from that, I think there are some of the capabilities also coming from North Korea. But again, it's certain parts that really augment the strike range of these missiles. And I think we've seen this development over the last 2 years, where they get increasingly better, A, at the range, and B, at hitting the targets they want to target.
How do you anticipate Saudi dealing with this, responding to this, since it continues to happen?
Well, they need to respond to it. The problem that Mohammed bin Salman is in as a defense minister is that he has to keep the Saudi people safe, and that is why they went in 2015. But in 2015, the range was the tribes that were targeted were relative in the periphery of Saudi governance. So these were people in the southern parts of the southern provinces that didn't really matter that much, as harsh as it sounds. Now we're talking about Mecca, and we're talking about Riyadh, and the accumulative wasta and the power that these people have who live in these territories. They will demand the government to take action. Very little can be done from the air. That is also something we need to establish. This air war, and it's an air war only by Saudi in northern Yemen, cannot be won from the air. It has to be either you escalate it to the ground, which I think the Saudis will be unwilling to do within the current context, because that's going to be a very deadly, high casualty war, or you will come and start engaging with the Houthis. And I think that's the only real alternative here. The Houthis want to be talked to. They don't want to be disregarded. And they want to keep the cost for Saudi high. Because if at some point the Saudis realize that they can live with the situation, that it is sustainable to keep a simmering war in Yemen going on, then there will never be any engagement. The Houthis want engagement. They want to be talked to. They want to be invited into Saudi Arabia. And that's why they escalate. They say, if you don't talk to us, we will escalate, and we will continue retaliate for everything that you do. So making the war an unsustainable situation for Saudi Arabia.
Andreas Krieg, thank you very much.
Thank you.